Hello everyone, here back on the Decentralized Bull channel, and now we have very bullish guest here. I think he's the biggest crypto bull, Bitcoin bull actually, here with the biggest trade at the moment in YouTube. We have Chris, MMCrypto.
Thank you very much for having me. Beautiful to be here, Mario. You are a decentralized bull as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think we are all decentralized bulls, most of our community. So let's jump straight into the questions right now. And I think what everyone wants to know, what are you looking for before opening a trade or making an investment?
Yeah, I'm here, by the way, in beautiful Singapore, and I'm very happy to talk about Bitcoin with you. I mean, right now, this is, I think, the best moment to talk about it within the last 2 years. And if I look into something, it's usually the higher time frames. I know that many people of your audience is interested in trading. For me, it's very important not to fall for the details. Easy wins the game. And everyone who is following me knows that I'm looking at the bigger time frames, at the higher time frames, the weekly, the monthly. And just recently, something interesting happened. We broke through 32,000. And of course, I opened my trade already at 17.5. That was when, if you look at the monthly and you draw these falling trend lines, which are suppressing the Bitcoin price in a bear market, we broke it exactly at 17.5. So I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to go in at low leverage. I'm going to long Bitcoin exactly here because chances are high that I'm going to succeed with that. The downside was much more limited already. We broke key market structure. And of course, the upside was way higher than the downside. So that was for me a nice scenario. Okay, low leverage. Gonna go into that trade on not too much volume, and then I'm gonna scale it higher as we are breaking resistance going higher. Now, for everyone who was sitting on the sidelines, what was the next moment where Bitcoin was breaking key market structure? Breaking key market structure is, for me, a very nice indication for a long-term position trade. Maybe not a day trade, maybe not even a swing trade, but a position trade. So now recently, I think a week ago, a week and a half ago, I think maybe it was a week ago or so, we broke 32,000. Breaking 32,000 was extremely important. We had for 1.5 years in the bull market being 30 to 32,000, very strong support. And we all know rule number one in trading, very strong support turns into very strong resistance. So just as we expected, I think you expected that as well, Mario. This strong support became strong resistance. We were hovering around these price levels for multiple weeks. Now, eventually, we broke it. As breaking 32 to the downside was an indication for a bear market to start reverse engineering that. Breaking 32,000 to the upside is, for me, a clear indication that the bull market has started. And then the next 12 to 18 months, the forces of the market are going to be reversed. Retracements are going to be quite shallow. And bullish news are going to be overcompensated, whereas bearish news are going to be undercompensated. And these are the kind of things I'm looking at. Of course, I'm looking also at on-chain metrics. I'm looking at support resistance in patterns. I'm a pattern trader as well on the smaller time frames. And I'm looking at things like volume profile, Fibonacci, and of course, the RSI and all the basic things. I really think we should keep it easy, and going into too much detail, you're really losing yourself in it.
Exactly. I definitely agree with you. And now breaking the 32 zone, we also have like key players that are back in profit. For example, Tesla, it's back in profit on its Bitcoin buys. MicroStrategy, I think 750 million in profits right now on its Bitcoin buys. And the narrative is trying to turn around now. Like people are talking about cryptos, conferences I saw are starting to get filled up again, and people start to get interested in the market. Like even I had like the past couple of days, like 20 to 30 friends asking me, should I buy now? Should I start investing again? What should I do? So we can see a little bit of FOMO for sure. And talking about patterns, what is your favorite pattern in the charts?
Well, I like all patterns the same, as long as they are on the higher time frames. Especially when now the market is shifting and we are shifting into a bull market, then bullish bias patterns are, of course, my favorite. ascending triangles, bull flags, all these kind of things have a much higher success rate in a bull market. If you are trading a bull flag in a bear market, I'm telling you, you are destined to fail. It's just what it is. Now that we entered the bull market phase, a bull market is much more likely to break out to the upside, actually, even though the statistical likelihood is always higher. In a bear market, it's not really. In a bull market, it is higher for sure. And we are breaking it to the upside much more often than to the downside. But more importantly, we are much more likely to reach the price targets of these patterns, whether it's a symmetrical triangle, an ascending triangle, a bull flag, or whatever, a W pattern. Price targets are much more likely to be hit in a bull market. So all of them are my favorites as long as we are in a bull market and as long as we are not on the 15-minute time frame, as long as we are on the 4-hourly, on the daily, on the weekly. Beautiful. To answer your question.
Thank you very much for the answer. And I have a lot of new viewers and beginners in crypto. What advice would you give to yourself at the beginning of your journey, crypto journey?
Think long term, don't gamble. And of course, one rule which one of the biggest Bitcoin enemies said is Warren Buffett. Rule number 1 is don't lose money. Rule number 2 is don't forget rule number 1. Whenever you are losing, let's say $10 in trading and your portfolio was $20, you have to make 100% to make it back. Even though you just lost 50, it's much harder to gain back money which you lost. So if you avoid losing, by just, for example, buying Bitcoin, holding it, not gambling around with it, your return, your portfolio return is much more likely to outperform anyone who is trying to gamble around within that. So think long term, whether it's in trading or whether it's in investing or just holding.
Yes, definitely. That's what a lot of people don't know. Like, for example, if you lose 90%, you have to do 900x to get back to the same level where you were before. That's why I think this rule is very important.
900%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I think Warren Buffett, even though he's not a Bitcoin bull yet, maybe he will switch the sides over very soon. Who knows, with the ETF announcement.
Once he reaches 100 years.
Possible.
Maybe with 100. Yeah, but you're right. Yeah, with a ETF is a good key point. I mean, if the ETF is going to be approved, you can't call it red poison anymore, right? I mean,
yeah, I
that's
think
the
even
game he's
before,
playing.
Larry Fink was also not so bullish about Bitcoin, I think like 3-4 years ago, and now they are trying to get their own ETF on the market. So sooner or later, everyone is going to switch. I think even Peter Thiel is switching sides, maybe.
Yeah, eventually everyone will switch, whether it's publicly or just mentally. They will have to admit that it is inevitable.
Okay, what do you think Bitcoin is the supreme asset class compared to other asset classes?
What's the question? Why?
Why Bitcoin is the supreme asset in your opinion?
Oh, that's easy to answer. And I think we have to wrap it up soon also. But I want to answer this question and I want to add some price prediction to it. Also, of course, why is Bitcoin the supreme asset class? What people have to understand is that we are in a system, in a financial system, which is eroding. All fiat currencies are destined to fail. The average lifespan is between 30 and 100 years. The time is ticking. All fiat currencies are falling knives, hitting the floor eventually, whether it's Turkish lira, Argentinian peso, Zimbabwe, all of these currencies are failing. And eventually, it's trickling down. Second world and even first world currencies are going to tumble and fall and hit the floor. We saw already the great British pound shaking around, the euro shaking around. And eventually, the last man standing is going to be the dollar. But it's going to fall as well. And when this is happening, Bitcoin is going to absorb the monetary energy from the traditional financial system. We already see the first things happening right now. Almost everyone in Turkey was exposed at one point of time to crypto. Almost 100% of people of our age have a Binance account. Bitcoin is so valuable that you can see a positive correlation in countries with a failed fiat currency between the inflation rate and the adoption rate of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the best asset we have ever seen and which has ever been available to humans, because it has all the properties gold has, which always was the safe haven for everyone. But on top of that, you have divisibility, you have portability, you have non-confiscatability. No one can confiscate your Bitcoin if you are putting it on a seed phrase, remembering the seed phrase and burning it. Once people understand that, they will understand why it's so important to know the true values of Bitcoin, know why Bitcoin is the best form of money which has ever been available to crypto, to humans. And now taking this knowledge and thinking about long-term price predictions, I mean, for this bull market, I would say 120 to 150,000 is my most reasonable price target I could quote for, I don't know, in 1.5 years or so to come. But the bull in me, of course, speaks about price targets of 200,000 plus. Very long run, purchasing power adjusted to the present moment of now, because in the future we can't quote any US dollar price targets because of inflation. It's just going to be way off, and that's hard to predict. In today's purchasing power, I think 1 million US dollars is very, very realistic. We see that the equivalent to the gold market cap would be around 500,000-600,000 US dollars per Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is superior to gold. So 1 million US dollars is my least price target in today's purchasing power. And I think in the best case scenario, in today's purchasing powers, even 5 million US dollars as a world reserve currency scenario is very likely. And yeah, that's my ending words for today. I want to know what the people think in the comments down below. But yeah, as everyone knows, I'm a big bull.
As always, thank you very much for your time, Chris, and for the great knowledge you share with us. And
yeah, always happy to be here.
Always, as always, bye-bye and see you next time.
Bye-bye.